Amarachi and said in a low voice only she could hear, "I will ask you something only Adanna would know." His tone was suddenly cold, and Amarachi felt a tremor of fear. Obinna recalled something Adanna had told him privately by the stream one morning, a little detail from her life. In a clear but firm voice, he asked, "Adanna, my dear, perhaps you can share with our people the favorite proverb Papa Ikin taught us by the fireside." This was a deliberate test. He had shared with Adanna a proverb his own father liked, and she in turn had told him one her father always said about trouble and the fence. It was a special memory. The true Adanna would know, Amarachi would not. Amarachi's mind went blank. Proverb? Fireside? She had no idea what he was referring to. She gave a nervous laugh trying to cover. "Oh, my prince, I have forgotten it in this excitement," she said, voice faltering. A murmur went through the crowd. Adanna, watching, realized what Obinna was doing. Summoning courage, she stepped fully forward and raised her voice, which rang clear and steady now. "When the bird perches on the fence shakes and the bird shakes," she recited. "One who brings trouble to others also brings trouble to himself." Gasps and whispers spread like wildfire. Amarachi turned, eyes blazing with panic and anger, as Adanna stepped up onto the dais. The two identical sisters now stood on either side of Prince Obinna, a bewildering sight for many villagers who rubbed their eyes at the doubling. Even Igwe Akpara stood up in concern, unsure what was happening. Prince Obinna let go of Amarachi's hand. A look of betrayal and fury flashed across Amarachi's face. She lunged toward Adanna with an accusatory finger. "She lies. I am Adanna." Amarachi cried desperately. "She is trying to steal my happiness." The irony of the claim was bitter and lost on the crowd who didn't know the full truth. Adanna felt tears on her cheeks, but she stood her ground, voice quavering yet resolute. "No, Amarachi. I will not stay silent this time." She turned to the Igwe, bowing deeply, then addressed the prince's father and all. "Your Highness, elders of our land, I am Adanna, daughter of Ikin. I am the one who met Prince Obinna by the stream. I did not know him as a prince at first. I knew him only as a good man, Obi, who helped me and won my heart with his kindness. We have spoken many days, shared hopes and dreams, and it was I whom he gave that bracelet to." She pointed at the coral beads on Amarachi's wrist. "My own twin sister has taken it from me in envy and come here pretending to be me." Her voice broke a little at that sentence, the pain evident. A thunderstruck silence fell. All eyes shifted to Amarachi. Mama Ifioma covered her mouth in dismay. Papa Ikin looked like he might faint, realization dawning that Amarachi had deceived them all. The Igwe's brows knitted at the audacity of such a trick at his court. Amarachi, seeing the truth closing in, tried one last gambit. She grabbed Obinna's arm and pleaded loudly, "Don't listen to her. She's always jealous that I might find happiness. My prince, I wore the bracelet you gave and came as you asked. She must have stolen it from me earlier and now wants to claim your love." She spun a desperate reversal. Prince Obinna gently but firmly removed her hand from his arm. His voice was stern. "Enough, Amarachi. Your words ring false. In my time with Adanna she spoke often of you, of your anger and envy. I had hoped those were tales of the past, but here I see them proven." He then looked to the Igwean elders. "This woman by my right," he indicated Amarachi, "is Amarachi. The true Adanna stands at my left." To prove it beyond doubt, Obinna stepped to Adanna and, before all the people, produced from a pouch on his waist the wooden dove pendant he had carved, the one Adanna normally wore but had removed today in favor of festival beads. "This is the pendant I made and gave to Adanna. She can tell you what is carved on the back." He handed it to the nearest elder. On the back, in fine lines, were carved the initials A and O, and a tiny heart between them. Adanna spoke softly, "It says A and O with a heart. A for Adanna, O for Obinna." The elder confirmed it, holding it up for all to see. A collective O rose from the villagers. The proof was undeniable. Moreover, those standing closest could see the difference in the twins now. Adanna's face was open, tear-streaked but sincere, while Amarachi's was red with shame and anger. Igwe Akpara, who had been silent thus far, stood and raised his hand with authority. "This charade has gone on long enough," he proclaimed. He fixed Amarachi with a disappointed look. "Daughter of Ikin, you have made a grave mistake to deceive a prince and the people on this sacred day." Amarachi quivered, falling to her knees, realizing the full weight of her folly in the eyes of the whole village. She knew what punishment could befall someone who tried to trick royalty. Fear finally broke through her pride. Before the Igwe could declare any severe judgment, Adanna, with her endless compassion, also knelt and gently held her sister's hand. Amarachi looked at her in surprise. Adanna spoke, voice trembling but earnest, "Please, great Igwe and all elders, have mercy. Amarachi is my twin, my own blood. Her heart was led astray by jealousy, but I beg you, do not be harsh. This should be a day of joy." Tears now spilled from Amarachi's eyes, tears of shame, regret, and also disbelief at the kindness of the sister she wronged. She squeezed Adanna's hand tightly, overcome by her twin's plea for her. The Igwe consulted with a glance at the elders, and they nodded in agreement. Igwe Akpara cleared his throat. "Amarachi, your sister speaks generously on your behalf. The gods and ancestors have witnessed your conduct. Justice must be served, but it will be tempered with mercy." He motioned for Papa Ikin to step forward. The twins' father did so, looking chagrined and sorrowful. Igwe Akpara said, "Your family shall resolve this matter. As for our prince's choice," he smiled now, turning his gaze to Obinna and Adanna, "it is clear the true bride has been found. Let this incident serve as a lesson to us all that truth and love will always reveal themselves, just as the sun breaks through cloud." Relieved and jubilant, the crowd cheered loudly. Drums struck up again, and this time in a triumphant rhythm. Prince Obinna helped both sisters to their feet. Amarachi could barely lift her eyes. Her face burned with humiliation. Adanna gently embraced her, and Amarachi broke into quiet sobs against her twin's shoulder. Over the noise, Adanna whispered, "Thank you for giving the bracelet back," pretending as if Amarachi had willingly surrendered it. Amarachi just cried, clinging to her sister, the guilt and sorrow overwhelming her voice. As the sun began to dip towards late afternoon, the festival turned into a village-wide celebration of both the harvest and the prince's betrothal. Women ululated in joy, and men joked that Prince Obinna's clever disguise had surely been guided by the ancestors themselves to find a worthy wife. Adanna and Prince Obinna stood together, side by side, accepting congratulations from villagers who came to bow and offer blessings. Adanna's eyes shone with happiness. Obinna held her hand proudly, the coral bracelet securely around her wrist once more. Off to one side, under the shade of a tall Udala tree at the edge of the square, Amarachi sat with Mama Ifeoma and Papa Ikin. Her eyes were puffy from crying, and she kept them lowered, unable to meet the gazes of neighbors. Some of the villagers whispered as they passed, casting disapproving looks at Amarachi's direction. She felt each glance like a prickling thorn of shame. Papa Ikin was stern-faced, deeply disappointed. In a low voice he reproached her, "Amarachi, have we not taught you better? Twice now, you have tried to destroy your sister's happiness out of envy. Chike was one thing, but this, deceiving a prince and the whole community." He shook his head. "Our family's name could have been dragged through the mud permanently today. What do you have to say for yourself?" Amarachi's lips quivered. She had no defense. All her life she had been trying to compete with Adanna, to outshine her, and now it had brought her nothing but humiliation. "Papa, Mama, I am so sorry," she managed to whisper, tears gathering again. "I was blinded by jealousy. I thought if I could have what Adanna had, I would be as loved and respected as her. But now I see I was wrong, terribly wrong." Mama Ifeoma, who had been quiet with sadness, gently put her arm around Amarachi. There was disappointment in her eyes, yes, but also deep concern. "Any jealousy is a disease of the heart," she said softly, using a term of endearment despite everything. "It will consume you if you don't cure it. You nearly lost yourself today, and your sister. Is it worth it?" Amarachi broke down, sobbing into her mother's shoulder. "No, Mama. It's not worth it. Adanna's heart is so pure. I don't know why I've been cursed with this envy. I need help to fight it." It was the first time Amarachi fully acknowledged her flaw without excuse. As she wept, the village elder Mama Chinidu, the same who had asked the question earlier, hobbled over. She had known the twins since they were born. She leaned on her walking stick and spoke in a gentle but firm voice, "Amarachi, child, raise your head." Amarachi did so slowly, tears streaking her face. The old woman wiped Amarachi's cheeks with the edge of her wrapper like a loving grandmother. "There is an Igbo saying," Mama Chinidu said. "If a palm nut falls and a chicken rushes to swallow it, the palm nut will ask, 'When did this happen?' It means it's not right to attack someone who has done nothing to you." FranPritchett.com. Adanna never wronged you, yet you wronged her out of envy. What have you gained? "Nothing, only pain," Amarachi replied brokenly. Mama Chinidu nodded. "Exactly. And there's another wisdom. He who digs a pit for others falls in himself. Today, in trying to hurt your sister, you nearly ruined yourself. Let this be the end of it." She patted Amarachi's hand kindly. Your sister loves you and has forgiven you. Now you must forgive yourself and mend your ways. It is not too late to change, NWAM, my child. The ancestors watched both twins with equal hope. Amarachi nodded, sniffing, and managed a small, "Thank you, Mama." The elder's words sank deep, and she vowed in her heart to never let jealousy rule her again. It would be a hard journey to truly change, but at least now she saw the need for it. Meanwhile, beneath the celebratory Ikoro drum beats, Prince Obinna spoke with his father. Igwe Akpara, still wearing a gentle smile of relief, said, "My son, you certainly chose a dramatic way to find a bride." He gave a hearty laugh and clasped Obinna's shoulder. "But I cannot lie, my heart is glad. Adanna seems a fine young woman, kind, honest, and brave. She will make a good princess for our people." Obinna exhaled, finally feeling free of tension. "Thank you, father. That means a great deal to me. I'm only sorry things became so chaotic. I did not foresee such deception." He glanced over to where Adanna was now speaking quietly with her sister and parents. He felt proud of how Adanna had handled it, with grace and forgiveness. The Igwe followed his gaze. The fault was the girl Amarachi's, but even so, such are matters of the heart. Jealousy has felled even the mightiest of men. We must have compassion even as we uphold justice. The king then raised an eyebrow at his son. "You have truly been living among the people these past weeks, have you not? Disguised as a commoner?" Obinna chuckled a bit sheepishly. "Yes, Papa. It was instructive. I learned a lot about our village and about people's true natures. In fact, that was how I found Adanna, drawing water, living humbly, yet full of joy and virtue." Igwe Akpara nodded thoughtfully. "It reminds me of something your mother once told me. True gold shines brightest not on the throne, but in the hearth. We found our gold today in a hearth of an ordinary family." Soon after, as twilight settled and lanterns were lit around the square, Obinna rejoined Adanna. He noticed Amarachi standing with her family, looking chastened and quiet. Obinna, holding Adanna's hand, approached them. Papa Iking bowed, "Your Highness." Mama Ifioma did the same. Amarachi started to kneel in apology, but Obinna gently stopped her with a raised hand. "This is a day of celebration," he said warmly. "Let past wrongs be acknowledged but also forgiven." He looked at Amarachi. "Amarachi, I know you sought my attention for reasons that were not love. But I harbor no ill will. I hope you will find your own path and happiness and learn from what happened." Amarachi nodded, ashamed. "You are most gracious, my prince. I am deeply sorry." She then turned to Adanna, tears brimming again. "Sister, I beg your forgiveness again. I don't deserve it, but I ask anyway." Adanna's eyes filled with tears as well, and she embraced Amarachi tightly. "You have it," she whispered. "You'll always have it. We are sisters, nothing can change that. But please, Ami, no more tricks. My heart couldn't bear another." She half laughed, half cried as she said it, trying to lighten the moment. Amarachi managed a wet laugh too, nodding fervently. The family closed around the twins in a group hug, relieved that both daughters were safe and together. Prince Obinna watched the reunion with a smile, admiring Adanna's capacity to love and forgive. He whispered in her ear, "Your goodness is truly boundless, Ada." She squeezed his hand in reply. At last, as night settled, the great festival drew to its close. Fireflies winked in the bushes and a pleasant chill crept into the air. The villagers began to disperse, tired but happy, under the silver light of a rising moon. The Igwe's attendants prepared torches to lead the royal family back to the palace. Before departing, Igwe Akpara announced that a formal marriage ceremony would take place in 1 month's time, after proper preparations and rites had been observed. The people cheered at the prospect of another celebration soon, a royal wedding in their very own village. Adanna and Prince Obinna walked hand in hand towards the royal carriage that had been brought for them. But Adanna paused and looked back at her family. She saw Amarachi standing a little apart, watching her leave, hands clasped nervously. In her twin's eyes, Adanna saw a mix of sadness, apology, and longing. Amarachi perhaps thought she would not be welcome to accompany them or that she'd lost her sister to the palace. In a sudden decision, Adanna turned to Obinna. "My prince, may my sister ride with us back to the palace tonight?" she asked. "I don't wish to leave her behind, not like this." Obinna considered, then nodded with a gentle smile. He approached Amarachi and extended his hand in invitation. Amarachi was startled. "Come," Obinna said kindly. "We would like you to share our happiness as family should." Overwhelmed by the gesture, Amarachi accepted, fresh tears rolling. And so, in the royal carriage under the sparkling night sky, the twins sat side by side with the prince. Adanna held Amarachi's hand, a silent promise that they would face the future together, free of the past shadows. Along the way, as the carriage rolled past fields and quiet huts, Prince Obinna spoke of how the wedding would involve both families, and that Amarachi would of course have an honored place by her sister's side. Amarachi listened in gratitude and disbelief. After all she had done, they still wanted her there. She vowed silently to earn this kindness from now on. That night, at the palace, the Envious household welcomed Adanna with open arms, delighted by the prince's choice. Amarachi stayed close by her twin, and the queen mother, Obinna's mother, even took both girls aside, offering wise words. The elegant older woman said to Amarachi, "My dear, envy is a common trap, especially when living in someone's shadow. But remember, the sun shines on each of us in our time. Your time will come if you open your heart." She then gave Amarachi a small ivory hairpin as a token of forgiveness and friendship. Amarachi accepted it with reverence, tears of thankfulness in her eyes. As the household settled to sleep, Adanna and Amarachi found themselves in a grand guest chamber, just the two of them, twins together like when they shared a womb and a cradle. Amarachi hesitated, then spoke into the darkness. "Adanna, are you awake?" "Yes," Adanna replied, turning to face her on the adjacent bed. The moonlight outlined their identical profiles. I want you to know I truly am sorry. I don't know if I can ever make it up to you," Amarachi said softly. Adanna reached out and took her twin's hand across the gap between the beds. "You are making it up to me by changing Ami. That's all I ever wanted, for us to be sisters like we used to be, with love and trust." She smiled. "We have a saying, do you remember? Owudu de Giazu, Ijigi Amu Nwa Loda. It's never too late to return home." Amarachi nodded, recognizing the sentiment if not the exact proverb wording. She squeezed Adanna's hand. "Thank you for not giving up on me." Adanna's eyes glistened. "We share the same heartbeat, you and I. I could never give up on you, my sister." In the days and weeks that followed, Amarachi worked hard to redeem herself. She helped in every aspect of the wedding preparations, never once complaining that it was for her sister and not her. She even found joy in it, selecting the prettiest uli designs, traditional tattoos, to be painted on Adanna's arms, helping Mama Ifeoma cook the huge pots of egusi soup for the feast, laughing with Adanna as they tried on ceremonial coral beads together. The villagers, initially wary of Amarachi, began to soften seeing her genuine change of heart and her humility. It seemed Amarachi was truly making amends, and the bond between the sisters grew stronger than ever. The wedding itself was a splendid affair. Under the Harmattan-kissed sky of early dry season, Adanna and Prince Obinna were married in a blend of royal custom and village tradition. Adanna wore a gorgeous outfit of velvet wrappers and elephant tusk ornaments as befit a princess, yet in her hair she still wove a few simple hibiscus flowers from home. Amarachi stood by as a maid of honor, radiant with sincere happiness for her twin, dressed in complementary colors. When it came time for the couple to receive parental blessings, Amarachi joined her parents in blessing Adanna and even Obinna, wishing them well with all her heart. In the evenings that followed, the stories of Adanna and Amarachi became a favorite tale in a make. Around village fires, elders would recount the cautionary yet hopeful tale, the good twin whose virtue won her a prince, and the jealous twin whose envy nearly cost her everything. They spoke of how the truth came out at the New Yam festival, and how the power of forgiveness and sisterhood prevailed. Children learned from Amarachi's mistakes that envy is a feeble flame that dies out when confronted with the light of love and truth. And they learned from Adanna that kindness and forgiveness can heal even the deepest wounds. In the end, justice was served, deception was exposed and halted. There was a touch of bittersweet loss in the innocence shed and the pain endured by both sisters. But most of all, there was redemption. Amarachi found the opportunity to change her ways and was embraced back into her family's love. Adanna gained not only a loving husband in Obinna but also saw her sister rediscover the path of goodness. Late one night, a few months after the wedding, Adanna and Amarachi sat outside the palace on a woven mat, looking at the stars as they used to at home. Crickets chirped in the warm night air. Adanna, now a princess, still loved these quiet moments with her sister, free of formalities. Amarachi pointed at a particularly bright star. "Annie, see that star? Grandma used to say twins come from the same star." Adanna smiled. "Yes. And no matter how far apart they seem, they always share its light." She leaned her head against Amarachi's shoulder. Amarachi added softly, "I'm grateful I can share your light, sister." I will never try to snuff it out again. Instead, I'll let it help me shine too. In the gentle silence that followed, both sisters felt at peace. The village of Amake would long remember the tale of their journey, how envy was overcome by love, and it would be told for generations as a tale blending folklore's richness with emotional truth. And under the watchful sky, Adanna and Amarachi, twin sisters bound by blood and healed by forgiveness, continued their lives, wiser and closer than ever before. The end.